But, of course, we ourselves can't bring the bones to life. Sometimes when we try, we end up clinging to them. Sometimes when we try, we end up missing the knock at the door. So what do we do with the bones then? We don't want to cling to them. Thich Nhat Hanh wisely counseled that group of veterans not to cling to the bones of the past. But we do want to believe that God brings new life. Ezekiel describes a God who can breathe life into bones. How do we know which bones God's asking us to let go and which ones God is breathing life into? 3 ideas. First of all, I think we're to hold all the bones loosely. Hold them loosely because we're mortal, like Ezekiel, and life is uncertain and so much is out of our control. Hold them loosely because the power to bring life is not ours, but God's. Hold them loosely because when we do, it means our hands aren't closed tight, but they're open to be ready to receive something new. Which leads to the second part, from that stance of holding them loosely, from a stance of our hands being open even just a little bit. We can listen for God's breath, God's wind, God's Spirit, and follow where it moves. Where the Spirit is present, there is movement and energy and hope. In John 3, Jesus says, "The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going." It's not up to us to decide where God breathes or what it looks like, but we do get to look and listen for where the rush of the Spirit is blowing, breathing life. We get to open our hands to be ready to receive what it is that the Spirit is doing. And also a third thing. It's significant that in this passage, Ezekiel is not a passive player, but he's an active one. He has an active role. God is the one who breathes the life into the bones, but Ezekiel doesn't just stand back and watch. He has part of making the vision he has real. He speaks to the bones. And as he speaks, God starts to put them back together again, to form the tendons and the skin. Then God tells him to call the breath into the bones, and Ezekiel does. So he's part of the process. He has a role to play, and it's one that involves facing those bones, inviting God into that valley of bones, asking God to bring new life, and then being willing to do his part to put those pieces together to do the things that are his to do. So to recap, part of our role in relating to the dry bones is holding those bones loosely so our hands are open and ready to receive. Part is listening and watching for where we see new life rising up and following that. And part is taking an active role, doing our part as God breathes new life.